It started with a simple text. That's all it took. A message that, at the time, seemed like nothing more than a minor annoyance. But it quickly spiraled into something I couldn't control, something that nearly ruined everything I had. I never thought it would come to this. My name's Chris, and I'm 35. I'd been married to Natalie for 9 years. I thought we had a solid relationship, one that was built on trust and mutual respect. But I was wrong. Trust, as I learned it the hard way, is a fragile thing. And sometimes, when it cracks, the damage is far worse than you could ever imagine. The first thing that tipped me off was a random message on my phone. It wasn't from Natalie, but from someone I didn't recognize. The number was saved in her contacts, but it wasn't familiar. And when I checked it, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary at first. Just some casual conversation about meeting up, grabbing drinks after work, things like that. But then, one text stood out. "You still up for later? I miss you." I froze. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe it was nothing, right? Maybe I was reading too much into it. But deep down, I knew something was off. It was a gut feeling. And you know how that goes. When something feels wrong, it usually is. I didn't confront Natalie immediately. I wasn't sure if I should. In hindsight, I think that was my first mistake. I should have asked her right away. But instead, I chose to bury it, ignore it, and hope it would just disappear. That decision, looking back, cost me more than I could have ever imagined. A few days later, I saw her phone sitting on the counter, face up. A new message came through. Same number, same conversation. This time, they were talking about plans to meet up that weekend. And then I saw something that made my stomach drop. "I can't wait to see you. I'll be thinking about you tonight." Now, I don't know about you, but I wasn't about to let that slide. I confronted her, not angrily, but directly. I asked, "Who is this?" Her face went pale, like she'd seen a ghost. For a moment, she didn't answer. And that silence spoke louder than any words she could have said. Eventually, she admitted it. His name was Mark, a co-worker. They'd been texting for a while, and apparently, it had started innocently enough. But as the days went by, it became more than just casual conversation. It became something else, something intimate. At that point, I didn't know whether to feel betrayed, angry, or confused. I mean, how did I not notice this happening? How could she do this to me, to us? And that's when the real trouble started. Because, apparently, Natalie wasn't the only one hiding something. I decided to do something I never thought I would. I started digging. I went through her messages, her emails, anything I could get my hands on. And that's when I found the real bombshell. There was more to this, much more. I found messages from Mark, but also from a few other people I didn't know. There was one from an ex-boyfriend who had resurfaced out of nowhere. Then there were cryptic texts from friends, messages with hidden meanings that started to paint a much darker picture. And then, I saw the parts that made my blood run cold. Pictures. I won't go into detail about what I saw, but suffice to say, they weren't the kind of pictures that belong in a marriage, not by a long shot. I thought about confronting her again, but I wasn't sure how. How do you even start a conversation like that? How do you confront your spouse when you know everything is a lie? And that's when I realized something. I couldn't just go back to the way things were. This wasn't just a simple mistake. This was a betrayal. And it felt like the walls were closing in on me. But there was still a part of me that didn't want to give up. There had to be some kind of explanation, right? Maybe I had misunderstood. Maybe she was going through something and didn't know how to talk about it. Maybe, just maybe, I could save this. So I decided to try and fix it. I wanted to give her a chance to explain herself. I wanted to hear her side of the story. But what I didn't realize was that I wasn't the only one who was hiding something. When Natalie and I sat down to talk about everything, she told me the truth, the whole truth. But the more she revealed, the worse it got. It turned out that Mark wasn't the only one she'd been seeing behind my back. There were others. And the more she confessed, the more I realized that what I had been holding on to was nothing more than a facade. I thought about what to do next. The emotional pull to fix things, to make things right, was strong. But at the same time, I couldn't ignore the fact that this was no longer the marriage I thought I had. And that's when it hit me. I didn't just have a decision to make about my relationship. I had a decision to make about myself. Looking back, I don't know what I was hoping for when I asked her to come clean. Maybe I thought I could still trust her. Maybe I was hoping she'd tell me it had all been a mistake, that she still loved me, that we could rebuild. But what I learned was that I had been living in denial for far too long. So now I'm stuck. Part of me still loves her, but part of me wants to walk away. The question is, do I forgive her, or do I leave her? I'm not sure what's the right move anymore. Some people think I should walk away. Others say I should give her another chance. But honestly, I'm questioning everything. What do you think? I don't know if I'm making the right decision, but I need to figure this out before it's too late. So here I am, trying to make sense of it all. I spent the next few days in a complete fog, running through every single conversation in my head, trying to figure out when everything changed. The thing is, I couldn't find one single moment. It was like the cracks appeared so slowly, I didn't even notice, and now I was stuck staring at the wreckage of my life, trying to decide if there was any chance of fixing it. I kept asking myself, was I that blind? When we first sat down to talk, Natalie tried to explain. She said she didn't feel appreciated, that I was too wrapped up in work, and she felt like I wasn't emotionally available anymore. And I get it, relationships take effort, and sometimes people drift. But what happened between us wasn't just a misunderstanding or a mistake. This was deliberate. She wasn't just emotionally unavailable. She was emotionally cheating. I'm not even sure when she crossed that line. Was it when she first started texting Mark? Or was it when she took those pictures I found? Either way, there's no denying it now. She wanted something else, and I wasn't enough to keep her from seeking it. But the hardest part, the part that still haunts me, it's that for the first time in months, maybe even years, I saw Natalie vulnerable. She wasn't making excuses. She wasn't deflecting blame. She just was raw, apologetic, and scared. For the first time in ages, she showed me something real, but I couldn't tell if that was the real her or just another version of the story she was telling herself to justify what she did. I tried to put myself in her shoes. Maybe I had been neglecting her, I thought. Maybe I wasn't there when she needed me. I'll admit, I didn't exactly win any Husband of the Year awards over the past couple of years. My work was demanding, and I let it consume me. I guess I thought she'd understand. I thought we had this unspoken connection, where we'd always figure things out. But now, looking back, I realize how wrong I was. Relationships need more than just getting by. They need attention, care, effort. But even with all that self-reflection, the fact remained that she'd betrayed me. And that's the part I couldn't get past. I don't know if I could ever forgive her. I kept trying to convince myself that maybe, just maybe, she was right, that I was part of the reason we ended up here. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized how little that really helped. In the end, her actions were her own, and they hurt. They cut deeper than I thought possible. The real kicker, the thing that really twisted the knife. She asked if we could go to therapy. Not immediately. No. After she had confessed everything. After I had spent days processing it all. After the anger had burned through me like wildfire. She asked if we could fix it. And she was serious. Like there was some magic band-aid that could erase the betrayal. Like therapy would somehow undo what she'd done. I should have been angry, right? And I was. But part of me felt so empty. Like everything inside of me had been drained. I didn't even know how to respond. I didn't know if I wanted to fight for this anymore, or if I was just so tired of the battle that I was ready to walk away. But then, as if it couldn't get any worse, something else came up. A message that I wasn't prepared for. It was from my best friend, Jake. Jake had been my buddy for years. We'd been through everything together. High school, college, a couple of failed relationships. Hell, we'd even started a business together. But what I didn't know was that Jake had known about Natalie and Mark 4 months. At first, I didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. There's no way my best friend would keep something like that from Emmy. But Jake confessed. He said he'd known for a while, but he didn't know how to tell me. He said he didn't want to get involved in the middle of it. I'm still not sure if I should be mad at him or grateful that he didn't try to fix my life for me. But that knowledge changed everything. Here I was, thinking I was the last to know, the last person to figure out the truth, when in reality, everyone around me had known. I confronted him about it. He apologized profusely, said he was sorry for not stepping in earlier. But in my head, I couldn't stop asking, why didn't you tell me sooner? Why didn't you give me a chance to make my own decisions? Because now, it felt like everyone was complicit in this mess. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how I'd been living in a bubble. My best friend, my wife, everyone was keeping these secrets from me, and I didn't even know. So yeah, part of me was furious, but another part of me couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. Not just from Natalie, but from everyone around me. But Jake wasn't the only one I had to talk to. I had to talk to my family, my parents, my brother. They had all been in the dark, too. And when I told them everything, I wasn't prepared for the reactions I got. My mom cried. My dad stayed silent. My brother, he didn't hold back. He told me I was being stupid if I didn't walk away from Natalie right then and there. He was blunt, as always, and said, "She messed up. You're better than that." I know my family had good intentions, but their advice just made me feel more lost. Now I'm stuck in this place, where I have no idea who I can trust. I don't know if I can ever look at Natalie the same way again. But at the same time, part of me doesn't want to give up on her. I mean, we have a history. We've been through a lot. And maybe, just maybe, there's still something left to save. But, can I really forgive her? That's the question I'm still asking myself every single day. So here I am, trying to make a decision. Do I walk away from everything, from a decade-long relationship, or do I try and rebuild with a woman who broke my trust in ways I didn't even know were possible? Some people say I should move on. Others think I'm being too harsh. But honestly, I don't even know if I'm strong enough to walk away. Some days, I think I could forgive her. Maybe we could work through this. Other days, I feel like I'm just holding onto a sinking ship, and the faster I let go, the better off I'll be. But right now, I'm questioning everything. What do you think? Am I just being a fool for considering staying? Some people say I went too far. Others say I haven't gone far enough. And honestly, I don't know.